Everybody suffers, everybody has a body, everybody's breathing, everybody wants to be happy.
What is a good life? How should we live? How should we be in this world?
What does it mean to exist, just to be?
How do we alleviate the suffering that is present in so many forms?
What does it mean to die, to suffer?
The Dalai Lama's message to everyone wants to be happy. We all have that in common. What would it be like if we were to live our lives as though we truly believed that?
The first 25 years have traced a beautiful arc, a beautiful trajectory in concert with the Dalai Lama, and has had enormous repercussions in the world through the books, through the meetings, through websites and so forth.
Mind Life is an organization that tries to bring different disciplines into dialogue with each other in order to understand better what suffering is and the causes of suffering, as well as the alleviation of it.
Mind and Life's focus is really quite ambitious, I think, and it is really to create a new paradigm of knowing. The kinds of qualities that we're so interested in studying, qualities like flourishing and well-being and kindness and compassion, those used to not be on the scientific map.
Mind and Life has done this very successfully, where there is a genuine respect for the integrity of the two voices, but bringing them together, towards a common goal.
One of the main achievements of Mind and Life is putting the field of contemplative neuroscience on its feet, bringing in very high-level senior scientists and some of the best young scientists, early career scientists, to seed the field.
And so it's wonderful to have a body of knowledge and scholarship and scholars who are actively engaged in these topics that I can use to bring to bear on the work with individuals and groups.
If Mind and Life hadn't existed, someone would have had to have invented it so that I would even be able to do the kind of work that I do.
Mind and Life was a really important home for me in those early years of making that transition and starting my own lab and research program.
We have only begun. We have no idea of where this can go and what the possibilities are in the future. It's this new generation which is really going to pave the way, really going to do the solid foundational work for a field that I think is going to develop for the next century or two.
They've done this by supporting young researchers and making pilot projects possible that I don't think would have happened, well, I can say wouldn't have happened without the Varela Awards.
They're a really valuable mechanism to let people start to do legitimate work in this field that may not be fundable through standard mechanisms like the NIH or other funding agencies.
As a donor myself, who's been one of the sponsors of the Varela Awards, I've never donated money to anything that has had more impact per dollar. It is profound.
I think one of the defining moments for me was the first meeting. It was a meeting on destructive emotion, and the critical moment when halfway through the week His Holiness the Dalai Lama said, well, all these our discussions are highly interesting, but what can we contribute to society?
I think through Mind and Life he sees the possibility of really kind of changing the way in which we see ourselves. That kind of storytelling of who we are has huge implications on how we behave in the world and what kind of systems we will develop.
But Mind and Life might be able to help people ask bigger, more important questions and take different kinds of risks.
How much can we really help people cultivate skills like full clarity in the moment, spontaneous compassion, equanimity?
How do we weave all that together in a way that helps us create methods and a way of working with people in the very moments of their everyday lives in which they are struggling and suffering.
I see the bridging of contemplative perspectives and science as potentially really having a very important role to play in, you could say, rehumanizing things like biomedicine through end-of-life care, for example.
His Holiness has asked us to make Mind and Life as well known as the Red Cross or Doctors Without Borders.
We're at a point where we are, you might say, meditating on what the true calling is for Mind and Life, say, for the next 30 or 40 years. What would the vision be for the future that we can manifest the seeds of now?